I think most of you will notice as you go along in practice and get more into this witness awareness. In other words, really observing yourself. You will see that you might have various ways of responding, patterns, things that you might not have noticed as much before. Maybe you've been aware of it, but now you're even more aware of it, and you can link it in more easily in your own reflection with difficult, traumatic experiences from the past. And of course, any of these traumatic experiences that we've had, whether they are heavy traumas, like any kind of physical abuse, sexual abuse, whatever it is, whether it is that kind or whether it is a lighter trauma of just not getting enough attention, not getting enough support, all of these things leave a trace in us, in our psychic system. And one man who has done a lot with this is Mate, very honest kind of person, and very skilled in this, very simple kind of stuff that he presents. But it's very clear that any kind of trauma that we've had leaves a trace, it leaves a kind of wound. So that, when in today's experience, we encounter things that trigger a response that is linked to that trauma, then we have some of the same reactions that we had originally when the trauma happened. So it hurts, it's uncomfortable, and we often seek various compensation solutions. There's always some kind of addiction. Now, whether you are addicted to alcohol or cigarettes or drugs or whatever, it doesn't have to be any of those kinds of things. You can just be addicted to your own patterns of behavior. This is also an addiction. You're sort of on automatic, and I'm not saying a lot of you are in that state, but you might notice some cases where you see your own reactions that really, in a way, don't make much sense in terms of the actual situation that you are in today. So, there's a lot of overreaction in terms of trauma. It's not overreaction really, because it's natural for us to react based on that trauma. But we can heal the trauma. And this is what going into the deeper self is all about. You holistically treat your trauma and these inner wounds by really opening up to this holistic healing in yourself. Your own witness awareness, as you embrace your inner deeper self, there is an automatic healing going on to the extent that you manage to do that. So it's really all about becoming conscious and then letting go. Conscious, letting go, conscious, letting go. Pull back to that witness awareness and observe your particular patterns as they reveal themselves. Observe them in that witness awareness, without attachment, without judging yourself, without worrying. You're just witnessing something in yourself that you are not responsible for creating. It just happens because of traumatic experiences that you had. But even though, it's not our fault, it is still our responsibility to clean it up. And this is why we are doing this deeper work, is that we really want to get to that state within ourselves where we are in direct contact with dynamic stillness, with the pure potential in us, and then also that pure energy that is unfolding. And that contact with that energy is going to clean up whatever traumas we've had, with some patience and consistent, regular inner focus. And of course, surrender is the key. But we can start to become more aware that there are things in our upbringing, whether they are heavy traumas or just lighter situations, they have formed who we are. So we want to not be stuck in that formation. We don't want to be stuck in the conditioning. We want to be in a state where we really have direct access to that inner self, the infinite beyond time and space, that we definitely can connect with by consciously inviting a state of surrender, letting go. And you can, of course, consciously feel that as your patterns play themselves out in particular situation. Somebody says something to you, and everything in, is like the words the person says is like pressing on a wound in you. And so you answer, and respond in a way that exaggerates it even more. And then you have this circle of really complex negative things going on. Whereas if you could step back a little bit and not react from your wound, but react from your consciousness, feel yourself rise above it, and then, count to 10 if you need to, or if you have time, and then act consciously, not based on these patterns and these traumas and addictions. So these things really amount to some relatively simple things, but they are not so easy to carry on week after week after week, constantly shifting your attention, back to the silence, the dynamic stillness, the pure awareness that you are, that we are.